Halftime, and defense cuts are kicking in big time. The Pentagon reducing the number of aircraft carriers in the Persian Gulf from 2 to 1. That's on the same day Iran's president says, quote, that it's a nuclear state. And Republican lawmakers are pushing for tighter sanctions on North Korea. They're angry at propaganda video that released showing an attack on New York City. Foreign Affairs Chairman Ed Royce is leading the sanctions charge. So, Congressman, thanks for joining us. We're used to belligerence out of North Korea, but it feels like as each day goes on, they feel more and more emboldened to stick it in our face. And today, you just really, it feels like the comments that came from you today said we must put an end to it right now.
Well, we need to, and we found something that worked in the past. If you recall, some years ago when we caught North Korea counterfeiting our $100 bills, we put sanctions on the banks that did business with North Korea so that they could obtain no hard currency. That was very, very effective. And frankly, when you bring an economy down like that, we did it for several months, as a consequence, the dictator couldn't pay his generals. That's never a good position to be in when you're a dictator. So if we cut off that hard currency again, that's the type of sanctions we're pushing for right now, we can have a real deterrent effect in terms of their ability to go forward with their program.
But the fact of the matter is, no matter what we've thrown at them, it seems like they are absolutely 100% determined on this mission, this nuclear mission, not only to be something of a nuclear power, but also to be able to export nuclear power, because that might be their only source of sort of income.
Well, now you know what their head of state, Kim Jong-un, is dreaming about. You see the video there with the young man dreaming, and he dreams of this ICBM, and you see their three-stage ICBM takeoff, and you see it headed, towards the United States, and then you see it hit New York City. I think, given the fact that, first of all, they're involved in continuing with this program, and second, they have the Iranians that they're working with to give them the capability, yes, now is the time to move with the types of sanctions that might also implode the regime. Not only does it make it hard for them to get the hard currency to continue the program, but it makes it hard for them to stay in power under a set of circumstances like that. It is too bad that the State Department lifted those sanctions some years ago, because they were proving so effective at the time.
Representative Royce, you just mentioned Iran, and today Ahmadinejad visited Egypt. We talk about the difficulty of trying to, to gather these two bad actors, and it really makes it even more difficult, doesn't it, when, to your point, we don't keep sanctions in place, or when would-be allies that we give a lot of money to seem to reach out the hand of respect to them, legitimizing those regimes.
I think that's a very good point. The other observation I would make is that today we finally had put into place a new set of sanctions which not only ratchet down the amount of oil that any government can accept from Iran, but also require, and this is a universal sanction imposed around the world, that instead of sending hard currency in exchange for that oil, only goods will be sent back to Iran. Well, if your currency is virtually worthless, as it is in Iran or North Korea, and you put these types of sanctions in place, and at the same time you're cutting off the market for petroleum exported from the country, that also will create many difficulties internally for the Iranian regime. We should be doing this 24/7. We should be applying on every pressure point.
Sir,
unfortunately,
in the 1 minute that we have left, how does this all relate to what's going on in Washington with respect to sequestration and massive cuts in defense spending? It feels like the Republicans are behind going through with this, yet by the same token, we know that there's going to be some serious impact, including an even more belligerent Iran, and even more belligerent North Korea.
What we have done is pass legislation over to the Senate that replaces the cuts in defense with other cuts in the bureaucracy. That's the approach Republicans want to take, and the reason we want to take that approach, obviously, is because an emboldened North Korea and Iran is very problematic, given the attitudes of people like Kim Jong-un and Ahmadinejad. You have unstable individuals here. You don't know what they're going to do, and as a consequence, we want to have a credible defense, a credible deterrence, and at the same time, we also, with a new set of sanctions, would like to bring these governments down.
Representative Royce, one of your colleagues called the North Korean video, tasteless and vile. I have to agree, and I'm glad you're up there fighting a good fight. We appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Charles.
So what do you think? With North Korea threatening us, how should the United States